going to be showing a couple of setups for lying down pranayama. The list is exhaustive, so these are just a few options, and it depends on the props that you have available at home. But this one, you can see I've got a bolster and a blanket, and there are still within this different ways of setting up. But the first one is to sit back, or rather lie back, sitting in front of the bolster, so that when we lie back, the back ribs are supported on the front edge of the bolster. And then the blanket has to be adjusted to go underneath the back of the head and or underneath the back of your neck. And then from here you can lift the buttocks and lengthen the buttocks towards your heels to lengthen the lower part of the back, and then the arms and the legs release to the side like so. Now the directionality of the body in a supine pranayama is this direction. And so the height of the blanket underneath the back of the head must be so that the skin of the forehead releases to the eyebrows, towards the nose, to the cheeks, towards the chin, and towards the sternum bone. So the blanket under your head needs to be adjusted potentially if that isn't the case. So for example, if I was to lie down, and do you see how my chin is tilted upwards and the directionality of the skin of the forehead is going this way? The simplest way to accommodate that would be to take either another blanket, or you can simply fold the existing blanket over so that you can have more of this direction. Now this can be overdone. If I would have too much height under my head, you can see how my chin is now forced downwards, so there is a stop here and the throat becomes very, very tight. So everybody is different, so you have to find the height for you, again, so that you can release downwards from the forehead, downwards towards the abdomen. To come out of all of these lying down poses, you get to bend your legs and then roll over to your right side to come on up. Now, as I made mention, there are different ways of lying down on the bolster. You can also sit all the way up to the front edge, and this gives an entirely different sense of openness into the lower ribs and into the abdomen. But it can be a little harder on the lumbar spine, so you might have to, again, take more height underneath your head and also place something underneath the backs of your knees. But the idea with this, once again, is that this is the direction, from the forehead to the chin to the chest and abdomen. Now, there are other setups, and I'm going to show one more. The most basic lying down pranayama setup will be with blankets rather than a bolster. And you can see how I've opened the blanket up, and you get to tri-fold it like so. And then you get to take another blanket, tri-fold it just like the first one. And you'll notice that the top one is slightly stepped away from the lower one, and the space between the lower blanket and the top blanket has to fit the shape of your lower back. You will need a third or even potentially a fourth blanket to go underneath your head. And for this one, you sit directly in front of the lower blanket, and when you lie back, the top blanket should again just gently fill the shape of your spine. From this position, you adjust the blanket underneath your head to achieve, once again, that releasing of the skin of the forehead towards the chin. And then the buttocks lift, and you lengthen the top buttocks towards the heels. The palms turn up as the arms release to the side, and then you can extend your legs out to the side. To come on up, you bend your legs and roll over to your right side and come on all the way up. So that's for 2 tri-fold blankets. And then the last one I'm going to show, because we'll be working with all of these, is to make the blanket setup marginally higher by keeping the tri-fold at the bottom and then doing a 4-fold on the top. So this is much sharper for the spine, and it creates a lot more lift upwards into the top of the chest. And so once again, you might find that you have to adjust the position of the blanket underneath your head. So as you can see, when I lie back like this, my chin is slightly lifted. Just the extra fold of the blanket can cause a great shift in the position of the chest and the chin. So it would be sensible for me to take another blanket and place it underneath the back of the head so that once again, I get the release of the forehead towards the chest, and then the buttocks lengthen, and that we're in this position. Prashantayangar says that we use the support under the spine, whether it's a bolster or blankets, not so much to lift the chest, but so that one can feel that there is a separation of the abdominal cavity and the chest cavity. And that when we take these breaths, that the idea is that the breath comes more easily into the sides of the ribs and the top of the chest, and that you have a real sense that the abdomen releases away, downwards towards the floor, almost effortlessly. Breathing is not effortless, there are muscles involved, but you can really feel a delineation, a separation between here and here. And then to come on out, you'll bend your legs and roll carefully over to your side to come on up. So when we start a pranayama practice, make sure that you have these props available, and we'll be working on these over the next few weeks. Thanks so much.